Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi Grinanti Bhurida Janaha. The nectar of thy words revives the scorched spirit of human beings. They purify the sinner and are the life of the holy. To hear them itself is auspicious and peace generating. They are the real givers who spread thy name far and wide. Om. Welcome to the scripture class today. And today's scripture is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We are on page 439, and the chapter is Advice to an Actor. So, in our last class, we saw how Sri Ramakrishna was talking about the danger of allurement to a sadhaka and how the importance of independence in human life, even in the life of householders, that one should not be dependent, should have its own independence, not even on spouse. Men not depending on women, women not totally depending on surrendering to men, but have their own individual existence, individual opinion, and living together, helping the whole family and supporting the spouse, but not being controlled, not being subservient to anyone. That is the spirit of freedom or independence. That's what Sri Ramakrishna had said last time. Let us see. He's still continuing that. Page 439, it's almost at the middle of the page. Men do not realize how far they are dragged down by women. Once I went to the ford in a carriage, feeling all the while that I was going along a level road. At last I found that I had gone 4 stories down. It was a sloping road. It was in Fort William where there is a ramp that goes down to the basement. And he had been taken there in a carriage, and he said, I did not realize that I had come so far down. I thought I was just in the same level as we have often we see in our when you go to the multi-storied parking lot like that. So, but what he says about, he uses the word women, that we, when you fall in allurement or something of attachment about the, because we're talking to men, that's why he uses the word women. Otherwise, you would use the word men if you are talking to women. So that's what he says. Don't be caught by the allurement and take any other person as the object of enjoyment, but as the dignity of human being, as the respect of the living soul. Treat them as your own soul. And if you can do that, then you are not caught in the allurement or any such thing. So that is the main meaning of Sri Ramakrishna saying. It is not to be taken as the, oh, women are not good, they allure, they attract, and people fall down. Not that way. It is up to the idea and vision of men or women, spouse, how they look upon their spouse. So if they look upon their spouse as divine being, as God's manifestation, as someone they have got in life by God's grace to help, support, admire, that is quite fine. But to be totally under that, so Sri Ramakrishna, who loved the spirit of freedom for the human being. If freedom is not there, then what is there in human dignity? So he just wants that every individual should be dignified, have the dignity and self-respect as a human being. That's what is Sri Ramakrishna saying. So Sri Ramakrishna continues, a man possessed by a ghost does not know he is under the ghost's control. He thinks he is quite normal. So when we are doing something that is not to be done, we still think that we are right. Often we defend, when someone even points out our defect, we try to defend ourselves. So so like that it happens. So if someone says to you something you are not doing, and other person reminds, can you do this? You say, I know that it is to be done. Why you have to tell me? Often that thing comes because of ego. So So that type of idea. So possessed by ghost, he is not normal, but that person, he or she thinks that person is normal. So we should be aware of our situation. When pointed out by some other person about our situation, if you are caught by ghost, you are not aware that you are caught by ghost. You are not aware that what wrong you are doing. And often that when somebody says something, always it is better to analyze, as Swami Premananda used to say. When someone says someone something to you, always analyze whether that person is saying right or wrong. If that person is saying right, then you correct yourself. If that person is not saying right, then ignore it. But don't just do like that. And mostly God's advice comes through our fellow human beings. Once one dog was coming to Sri Ramakrishna, and he said, "Oh, maybe God wants to say to me something from the mouth of this dog." And some devotees were there, just look at him. He said, "Yes, God does that way. He speaks through our fellow human beings. That's how God does." I know that one person once was at the railway station platform, and he was trying to catch the train, and he found that train, instead of coming to the platform where he's standing, it came on the platform across. He had to either go through the stairs, and that would take time, and train is already here. And that person thought that he can cross the train line and jump and get the thing. But train was quite fast. He was ready to jump, cross the line, railway track illegally. And if he had done, he would definitely be crushed. But what happened, just when he was ready to stoop down to go down on the line from the platform, he heard the sound. "Stop, don't go." Just sound, someone said. And he stopped and found that if he had gone, he would never be able to go down, cross the lines and get up. It's quite high platform. In Indian, platforms are quite high up. So he would have been met an accident, and perhaps that was the death. But who saved that? Unknown person. But who saved really? It is God that spoke through that person. God is always there. That story there, that one person was going, and suddenly he saw that sound came, "Stop." And he found the wall in front of him just fell down. And if he had gone and not stopped, the wall would fall upon him, and he would have been died. He would have died. And after some time, then he started walking, and there was a road, and he found that there was a road sign, and the green light was there. He was crossing the road. Again, sound came, "Stop." See, it is always everything was okay. From where it came, "Stop," he said, and he stopped. And one big truck just passed and crossed the red light, and crossed, and that would he would have an accident. So he knew that something was there, he's saving his life. Then he looked up and uh, he said, "Oh, who are you?" And the sound came, "I am your guardian angel, always protecting you." Then he said, "Where were you when I got married?" So that is the joke, of course. So why didn't he say stop that time? So like that thing, something sometimes God speaks. We just do not pay heed to that. So here also Sri Ram, he says when ghost catches, one is unaware of that ghost has caught. He's no, abnormal, something wrong going on, but not aware of that. Like that, Sri Ram said. Vijay smiling. But he can be cured by an exorcist if he finds one. So there is a way to be relieved from the influence of ghost. But that person is not aware that he is already under the influence of ghost. Why will he go to exorcist? So that is the problem. If he is aware, then there are the ways. So what Sri Ramakrishna says, in answer to Vijay, Sri Ramakrishna only said, that depends on the will of God. Then he went on with his talk about women. Master, everyone I talk to says, "Yes, sir, my wife is good." Nobody says that his wife is bad. All laugh. So everyone's wife is good. Why will they say not good? If wife is really good, husband is good, well, my brother is good, son is good, parents are good. So it is that thing. But Sri Ramakrishna thing was they do not judge independently. Everyone thinks or is afraid to say that my wife is really, she is good, but she is little little crazy or something. He doesn't say that way. Something he's afraid to speak about the nature of his wife to anyone. So there is a story once, somebody said, everyone is afraid of wife. So who is not afraid of wife, they go to the left, and who are afraid of wife, to remain on the right. So then he found everyone came towards left. One person, he stood on the right side. Then he said, "Oh, at least one person is found. He's not afraid of wife." Then he went. The person went, and you are not afraid of wife. Why do you? Why are you here? No, actually, my wife said, when all persons go, all crowd goes one side, you don't go to the crowd. Remain separate, not in the crowd. So I'm here. There was also some wife's commandment was there, and he had to follow that. His joke is about the wife and husband. Generally, it is just a joke. Generally, wives do not give that thing, and they don't control in many cases. But Sri Ramakrishna's observation to these people was not that they listen to the wife or the wife's service, their contribution, their sacrifice for husbands and family is incomparable. That everyone, they are the embodiment of the divine mother that looks after the whole family. So nothing about that. But what he says here is they are not, they are little shaky, afraid of their wife, and they cannot judge truly, and everyone says that way. Otherwise, why would Sri Ramakrishna not like to be, and not like them to praise about their own people? So sometimes it is not true, sometimes like that. So that is the thing Sri Ramakrishna is saying. His more emphasis is on be independent, have your own opinion, and have respect for your wives, or wives should have respect for their husband, seeing them as the embodiment of God, serve them as God, not as something else, not as a human being. Then all problems come with that. And when you see divinity in your spouse, then you are seeing the right thing. Then you can judge nicely. And that's what independence is, what Sri Ramakrishna saying, it seems. Those who constantly live with woman and gold are so infatuated with it that they don't see things properly. That's what it says. So, chess players oftentimes cannot see the right move for their pieces on the board, but those who watch the game from a distance can understand the moves more accurately. So you are in the game, you don't understand how are you behaving. So people sitting outside, they know it is not right. Someone will say, no, no, that the king doesn't move there. It will be risky. So someone seeing outside can come in. But who is engrossed and miss that point. So like that he says, those who are there, they even do not know what Sri Ramakrishna's surprise is. They even do not know in what situation they are. They are under the spell of and have lost the originality of thinking, original of independent thinking. That's what he says, Sri Ramakrishna says, and nothing else. So he just wants them to be independent. Then woman is the embodiment of Maya. Again, that word Kamini Kanchan. Woman doesn't mean woman as such. Kamini Kanchan, what he says. So woman is the embodiment of Maya. In the course of his hymn to Rama, Narada said, "O Rama, all men are parts of thee. All women are parts of Sita, the personification of thy Maya. And please deign to grant, Narada's prayer continues, please deign to grant that I may have pure love for thy lotus feet, and that I may not be deluded by thy world bewitching Maya. I do not want any other favor than that." So, what it says clearly that women are the embodiment of Sita, who is Maya. So, Maya, Sri Ramakrishna himself says, Maya are of two categories, Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya. If all women are seen like Sita, this is all Vidya Maya. So the women cannot have anything control upon you. But when you cannot have that type of vision, then it becomes Avidya Maya. So he wants people, or those who are devotees, from the avidya maya, that this whole world is avidya maya. If you can't have right attitude, instead of seeing divine mother, we see all attraction and charm and attachment, all that is avidya maya. So he says, have the right perspective to see the whole world, including everyone, including your wife, and see it as the manifestation of Sita. What you can see, what Narada says is all women are the manifestation of thy Maya, binding Maya, not the Vidya Maya, about the Avidya Maya. Whereas Sita is Vidya Maya, she is mother, divine mother. If you can see Sita as the divine mother, then there is no problem at all. And every woman is the embodiment or manifestation of the divine mother. All done. Then you have devotion to the lotus feet of Rama. You will not be deviated from the thought of God, and you will see divine manifested in everyone. Nothing will make you fall in the trap. So that is what is about the Maya, he says. Surendra's younger brother and his nephews were present. The brother worked in an office, and one of the nephews was studying law. Master to Surendra's relatives. My advice to you is not to become attached to the world. You see, Rakhal now understands what is knowledge and what is ignorance. He can discriminate between the real and the unreal. So I say to him, go home. You may come here once in a while and spend a day or two with me. So to be tuned in the with the knowledge part. That's why come now and then you are distinguished between knowledge and ignorance. Today in the gospel, beautiful Sri Ramakrishna described the freedom from the idea of duality is knowledge. Knowledge makes you free from the idea of duality, which makes us individual being instead of all pervading consciousness. And that is what is knowledge. When we see only one, that is knowledge. Seeing two is ignorance. That's what Upanishad also says, if you see two, you can never be freed. You cannot attain emancipation or liberation. Mrityo samrityumapnoti ya iha naneva pashyati. So it says that if you see nana varieties, then what is your fate? You will go from death to death. So you will die, again will be born, and quickly life will finish. Again death, again death. Life is not mentioned here because life is very short. So he goes from death to death. If you see variety here, variety means manifoldness here. Only you are not able to see the oneness, one reality that is appearing as many. And this appearance has become true, and only variety is true, and no way you can perceive the thread that goes through the garland. You see only the garland that is beautiful with various types of flowers, but have no eye to perceive the thread that goes through the garland. And that's why what holds you together, and that garland, that thread is God, which holds all these varieties. That varieties which is short-lived, but reality focus is on that thread, which is the uniting factor, which is the one that goes through all that. And that thread is God, and that thread is our soul, because soul is God. So if you are aware of yourself as the thread, you are free. If you are aware only as the flower, then you go from death to death, from mrityu samrityumapnoti. So Rakhal now understands what is real and what is unreal. So the real is thread. The flowers are unreal, means they are short-lived, they will go, they are not your true self. You are not that flower, that marigold flower or carnation flower that is that passes through, that a thread passes through it. So you are that thread. So that's what one, that consciousness that I am, that passes through all this variety. And every soul that I deal with is that one consciousness. There are no two consciousness. In that way, I am one with everyone's consciousness. There is no two consciousness. So then the idea of unity comes, and unity is knowledge. Variety or seeing only two is ignorance. Then that has to be discriminated or discerned between the real and the unreal. Have it now, he says to this who was studying law, and what he was doing. One of the brother worked in an office, one of the nephews is studying law. Surendra was a great devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, one of Rasadars one who provided everything that Sri Ramakrishna needed. So Sri Ramakrishna had that person who used to take care of all his expenses. And then it finally came Surendra. It was the last sixth one. Previously was Mathur Babu and other were there. So Shambhu Malli, and there are so many who provided whatever he needed for sadhana, for his some expenses, for his gifts. All this he did. But the last one was Surendra. When the problem came, he had to move to Kasipur and Shampur and Calcutta. And this rent was quite high. And Shampur, he didn't like it. It was a small place, and it was not airy. It was in the crowded city. So he wanted to go to some lonely and spacious place. There was one house found in Kasipur, little farther from the Calcutta. But Dr. Sarkar said, I will come there to see you. I'll go even farther that way. And everyone liked that place. But the rent was 80 rupees per month. It was a huge money, like 80,000 rupees now. It will be like that. How much salary people had? Sri Ramakrishna has 7 rupees per month salary. And its rent was 80 rupees per month. So who will bear that? Surendra came forward. I will bear the whole expense for that. It is not easy to 80 rupees. They would get 200, 300 rupees per month. It was whatever money he had. So he was that thing, and his nephew and brother had come. So he is giving, Sri Ramakrishna is giving good advice to this. Whenever these young people came, relative of some person known, Sri Ramakrishna used to give nice advice. To one person came, he was studying law, another person also. And such a person studying law, Amrita was his name. And he said, "Hmm, always know that God is real, and whatever you are is by the blessing of God that you are in this position or you have admission there. So don't think you have achieved what God has given you. Always do that. That brings humility. That is the truth, and that take away the arrogance which if is there in even a person who is qualified, that person goes down. Downfall is very close. Sri Ramakrishna says to these young people, brother and nephew of Surendra, what he says, have a friendly relationship with one another. That will be for your good and make you all happy. Good relationship, adjustment with the society, adjustment in the family, very important. See, Sri Ramakrishna always emphasized, Yam had little problem with his family. And Sri Ramakrishna always said to him, go and bow down to your father. Father had married second wife after his first wife died. Yam was the son of first wife. So they could not have good relation with the second wife and father, and he left the home. It was very difficult for him to adjust, him and especially his wife. But Sri Ramakrishna never liked that one should go away from the family. Somehow try to adjust. Yeah, there is adjustment can be done. How Holy Mother adjusted with such difficult relatives. So she could do like that. You go and Sri Ramakrishna was saying again and again to him. That was his one thing. He was progressing in spiritual life. He understood who Sri Ramakrishna is. One day he said, have you gone to back home? No, sir, not yet. What are you saying? I say you will go and adjust to their parents. You live like that. So he said very strongly, but sharply he said to rebuke the M. And M didn't promise that he will go. One day, really, he went back with his family. And then he came to Sri Ramakrishna and said, I've gone back to my father. He was very happy. He knew that if we have not good relationship with our friend or our colleagues or our family members, then our mind is occupied with that wrong relationship and never is clear to flow fully to God. Part of it is taken by that relationship, and relationship can be made right with right attitude. Sometimes it is difficult. Some people complain about other person, so that is there. But still, even if they are not that good, somehow what we can do is see the nature of the person. Nature is created by samskara. Instead of blaming the person, blame the samskara that is carried to that. That attitude itself makes your relationship better. So that person is not bad, but samskara is like that. And often we blame individual person. So that becomes the problem. If you blame sometimes your relationship with your sister and your brother-in-law. And then you will say, my sister is a good person, Swami, but brother-in-law, oh my God, what a horrible person. They will not blame because she is her sister. My sister is good, but that brother-in-law with whom she has married is not good. So that person sees, because anything connected with me, I and me and mine are all good. But someone that came, those are not good. Instead of saying that, if you say samskaras were not good, like that, they behave that way. So all your attitude changes towards that person. That person behaves according to his or her samskaras, his or her upbringing, his or her whatever they have been carried over. Like that it brings. So it is the fault of samskaras, not the fault of the person. So that type, if you can discern, our relationship becomes better. And making relationship better is for the peace of mind and also for our spiritual progress. That is important. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, always have a friendly relationship with one another. That will be for your good and make you all happy. In a theater, the performance goes well only if the musicians sing with one voice. And that also gladdens the hearts of the audience. See, musicians are singing in the theater, they are to group singing. Someone plays, someone many sing. And if there are different tunes, different rhythms, different pitches, then song, how the song will do. When they sing together, they feel happy. We are presenting well. And also other onlookers, audience, they also gladden their heart because music is going well. So if we have good relationship in our family, we are happy, and also neighbors are all happy. Those who love us are happy. Our friends become happy. That's why Sri Ramakrishna emphasized in making relationship better. So you will say Sri Krishna said, "Those who are not good, then fight with them." What to do that? Yuddhasya vigata jvara, fight, having your fever, relinquishing your fever, you fight like that. So what is that fight and whom to fight? That is the thing. Sri Krishna no doubt said fight with the adversary, but he categorically said, don't hate your adversary. Adversary has many defects, but don't look upon your adversary's defect. Treat them respectfully and fight with them for justice only. And don't hate, don't fight because of hatred with someone. Give up the hatred. That was Sri Krishna's teaching, even to those who fight. Even in modern warfare, I've read the stories that two enemies fighting, and after that one some person happens, one enemy soldier is very brave and he killed many of your enemy. You should be very angry with that person. One person killed 10 of your soldiers. But it was the custom that when that one soldier who could kill 10 of your own soldiers killed, when that person was killed, this enemy soldier will go and put out the hat out of respect for the bravery. What we do to Mahishasura, such a evil person who troubled whole world, heavens, gods were deprived, and we worship that Mahishasura because because of the bravery. You just admire his bravery for wrong reasons even. Bravery itself, his courage, his bravery. He was fighting with the divine mother himself. It is said in the mantra that who can fight with the divine mother? You have taken the Rudra Rupa Dharayato Mahishasura Nama. You have taken the form of Rudra, so brave. So Mahishasura, please accept my pranam. He offered a pranam to even Mahishasura. Not Mahishasura for his wrongdoing, but for his bravery. He could dislodge the king, the gods. The gods, why they dislodge? God were dislodged. They are also doing something wrong, wrong karma, all in luxury, they've forgotten fighting and all that. They said nothing will happen, the complacence for them. And then they were dislodged with this brave person. But this bravery can be admired. So that is what is having no hatred towards your adversary. That's what Sri Krishna asked Arjuna to say him to fight. Yuddhasva vigata jvara. Vigata jvara is remove all your defects of hatred, anger, and all your greed. All these are the fever that we have. Malaria, typhoid are these things. And that remove that. And then bow down to your adversary. No, fight, defeat, whatever. And he says, kill Bhishma, kill Drona, like that, kill Duryodhana. But for the sake of justice, not for the sake of only for your glory or out of hatred. That is the meaning uh, of the Mahabharata war. It is for the sake of justice. And that's how when there is a good relationship in the family, we feel family, whole family feels better, and neighbors, people who admire you, who love you, all feel happy. Oh, good relationship happened. Do your, again he continues, do your worldly duties with a part of your mind and direct most of it to God. So that's what Radha Maharaj after used to say later on. Radha Maharaj used to say, Swami Brahmananda used to say, 15 parts of your 16, total 16 parts, 15 parts, about 90%. You put it in God. 1% means 10% or 1 anna you put in the world. With that 1 anna putting in the world, you can do miracle work. You don't put 1 anna, generally we don't work. We put only fraction of our mind in our work. So if you could put full 10% in the work, that will be enough, and that will be possible only when you can put 90% in God and nothing else. So that's what he says. Sri Ramakrishna also says, put the mind in God, and then for the rest, do your worldly duties with a part of your mind and direct most of it to God. It doesn't say 15 anna, 1 anna. A sadhu should think of God with 3/4 of his mind, and with 1/4 should do his other duties. So sadhu, if he says that for householders, there is a the relaxation, and so it is not we have to wait 50-50 maybe okay for the householders because a lot of work have to be done. But 50% of your mind giving to God is also not joke. He should be very alert about sadhu. Again, he says about the sadhu. He should be very alert about spiritual things. Sri Ramakrishna, one thing, he's talking to all householders. How this sannyasis thing comes here? Why he have to bring the what should sannyasi do? Because when he talks this and he knows that enemy is noting down. And his words are meant not only for particular group of sadhus, it is meant for whole humanity in which there are spiritual seekers, there are worldly people, everyone. So that's why he brings this his direction and advice to even the sadhus. What sadhus should do, he sees here. There was not a monk, only few others were there, but there was not a monk. But he says sadhus should be very cautious about spiritual things. The snake is very sensitive in its tail. Its whole body reacts when it is hurt there. Similarly, the whole life of a sadhu is affected when his spirituality is touched. So be most careful. Swami Premananda used to often say, Ore sadhu sabdhan. Always protect your spirituality at all costs. There is nothing you can compromise with your spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna was going to Pine Grove and asked Gopal of Sithi to take his umbrella to his room. Arrangements had been made in the Panchavati for the Kirtan. When the master had returned and taken his seat again among the devotees, the musician began her song. Suddenly there came a rainstorm. The master went back to his room with the devotees. The musician accompanying them to continue her song there. One lady singer had come, and she was that all was planned that under this thing it will be there. Under the Panchavati, the tree, there will be music. May, and it was a very hot time weather, end of May. So that was arranged, but storm came. Now all had to come. Sri Ramakrishna came to room. Whole program now will be in his room. And that lady was a very good singer. Sri Ramakrishna goes into samadhi listening to that. And he asked one person to go and put the umbrella in the room. Now let us see what happens. Master to Gopal, after he came to room, have you brought the umbrella? He told, when you're going to Pine Grove, you should have brought that time itself. It's not too far. From the Panchavati to Sri Ramakrishna is not too far. He said, put this in the room. He said, I will do later after music. Then after that, when he was coming after the music, then what happened? Have you brought the umbrella, Gopal? No, sir. I forgot all about it while listening to the music. He didn't listen to Sri Ramakrishna when he said, go and keep it there. The umbrella had been left in the Panchavati and Gopal hurried to fetch it. And Sri Ramakrishna understand what type of mind what person has. Once someone forgot something there and they had come to do some picnic like thing, they eat together under Panchavati, their forest. And after they left, Sri Ramakrishna said, go and see that they might have left something. And they found some umbrella, some other thing they had left. And he brought that, Sri Ramakrishna, that and then brought that home. Sri Ramakrishna, I knew that they will forget. I knew their insincerity. Because when they came, they are asking here from some matchstick or something. They come for the picnic to cook food and they didn't bring the matchstick to light the firewood. So they are forgetful. They are not very sincere. So I knew that they will forget something while going. And that was kept and was given later on. So like that, Sri Ramakrishna said to Gopal of Siti to bring the umbrella. Uh, Master, I am generally careless, but not to that extent. Rakhal also is very careless. Referring to the date of an invitation, he says the 11th instead of the 13th. And Gopal, he belongs in a herd of cows. When Gopal forgot, Rakhal also forgot. He will not spare anyone who did some little wrong. It doesn't matter that whether the person is there, he will mind or not. Sri Ramakrishna is very frank in speaking about that. So one person he said, "Oh, you belong to that caste," and that person was very serious. Asked him to give something to Rakhal's family. There was need of to make a mm, dig a pond, and he said to one rich person was there. He said to, "Can you help him?" So, and before that person said something, he said, "But you belong to that caste, that is very miserly caste, and you will not give." So then that person didn't mind at all. He was sitting there, didn't become angry and went away. After some time, few minutes, he said, "Sir, if you ask me to give some money, just ask me to give. Why to say about the caste and all that?" He was also joking, nothing in mind. He had any to mind anything. That was Sri Ramakrishna's simplicity and love for it. Because he didn't say it hurting someone, it just came out of fine jokes. And to Rakhal also, he say, "Oh, Rakhal forgot that, Rakhal did that." He's saying, even if Rakhal is present, I think I forgot Rakhal is there or not this day. So I am generally careless, but not to that extent. Rakhal also is very careless, and he forgot the date from 11th and 13th. And Gopal, he belongs to in a herd of cows. So there is a pun on the word Gopal, which means also herd of cows. Gopala, go means cows, Pala means herd, when a group of cows. That also means Gopala. Gopala, the technical word is who takes care of cows. Gopala Krishna. But Gopala also in Bengali may mean Pala means Bengali Pala means herd, group of what? Go. So Gopala belongs to the group of cows, so he will behave that way. He made fun for Gopala. Gopala will not mind. It's okay for that. From man, he said you are one of the cows like that, but it doesn't matter. It's the joke Sri Ramakrishna does, and whoever has such type of joke is the fortune to get from Sri Ramakrishna's mouth. It's a great blessing. The musician sang a song about the monastic life of Chaitanya. Now and then she improvised lines. He will not look upon a woman, for that is against the sannyasi's duty. Eager to take away men's sorrows, he will not look upon a woman. For the Lord's birth as Sri Chaitanya otherwise would be in vain. So about his renunciation, the glory of the renunciation of Chaitanya, she was singing, and she was adding some words of her own, and that is what she made the glory of sannyasa, as Sri Ramakrishna said to them, how the sannyasi should live. She was making that song and added that words, wise person, wise woman, and that made Sri Ramakrishna very happy. The musician, the master stood up after listening to the woman's song, the singer's song, and her explanation and adding her own sentences and words. As he heard about Chaitanya's renunciation and went into samadhi, the devotees put garlands of flowers around his neck. Bhavanath and Rakal. Rakal was here, you see, he was talking about Rakal. He forgets now, but he praises and praises, he forgets what he had done sometimes instead of saying 11, he said 13th, like that. The date was wrongly done, but he said that. Bhavanath and Rakal supported his body lest he should fall on the ground. Vijay, Kedar, Ram, M, Latu, and other devotees stood around him in a circle, recalling one of the scenes of Chaitanya's Kirtan. So Yam was Sri Ramakrishna saw Yam in the group of Chaitanya's Kirtan vision. So anything that is related to the life of Chaitanya, it comes to M's mind. So they two supported, they put the garland, Sri Ramakrishna is standing samadhi, and other devotees are standing around encircling him. So he immediately was reminded, M was reminded of Chaitanya Devas when he was in the Kirtan, people, devotees would surround him and they would support him. It reminded him of those days. Just read, no movie, no picture, nothing. Just what he read he had the imagination in his mind. The master gradually came down to the sense plane. He was talking to Krishna, now and then uttering the word Krishna. He could not say it very distinctly because of the intensity of his spiritual emotion. He said, Krishna, 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 Krishna Satchidananda. Nowadays, I do not see your form. Now I see you both inside me and outside. I see that it is you who have become the universe, all living beings, the 24 cosmic principles, and everything else. You alone have become mind, intelligence, everything. It is said in the hymn of salutation to the Guru, I bow down to the Guru, by whose grace I have realized him, who pervades the individual universe of the animate and the inanimate. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptamena characharam Tatpadam Darsitamena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Ramakrishna said in a singing tone, that's why it is there. And he realized that individual reality or consciousness as Krishna that pervades everything, inside, outside, and every corner is pervaded by that divine presence. And he's trying to say that Krishna's name and full of emotion and slowly coming down from that high state. So he's saying about the Guru, making that it is all you. You alone are individual. Again, it is you who pervades the universe of the animate and the inanimate. You are verily the manifold universe. Again, you alone are its basis. O Krishna, you are my life. O Krishna, you are my mind. O Krishna, you are my intelligence. O Krishna, you are my soul. O Govinda, you are my life breath. You are my life itself. So he was in a very high spiritual mood and taking Krishna as fully soaked with the feeling of Krishna within himself and outside. That is what is called being fully soaked with the Krishna Bhava. When one is soaked with the Krishna Bhava, everything seems to be soaked with the Krishna Bhava. That's what Sri Ramakrishna says. Mind, intelligence, prana, everything of it is soaked with Krishna. And whole world is soaked with that Krishna. Inside the Krishna, outside Krishna. That is the experience of Sri Ramakrishna that is often described for a person who experiences this prema, Mahabhava and prema in life. Vijay was also in an ecstatic mood. The master asked him, my dear sir, have you too become unconscious? No, sir, said Vijay humbly. So it is all about being immersed in Krishna Bhava. So Vijay was a great sadhaka, great spiritual aspirant and spiritual leader later on. And he had such a great admiration for Sri Ramakrishna. Influenced and blessed by Sri Ramakrishna, he rose to very high degree of spiritual achievement he had. And later on, he founded his own organization, and he served the people spiritually enlightened, helped to enlighten. And he used to go into samadhi, and he was also almost unconscious. The music went on. The musician was singing about the blinding love of God as he improvised the lines. Taking this, when one is so spiritually absorbed, whole atmosphere changes. Now this musician also is in a very high spiritual mode, and she also is composing and adding to the song. As she improvised the lines, she is making the lines, improvising lines. Oh, beloved of my soul, within the chamber of my heart, I would have kept you day and night. It is not in the song, but it's his adding to that song. The master again went into samadhi. His injured arm rested on Bhavanath's shoulder. Sri Ramakrishna partly regained outer consciousness. The musician improvised. Why should one who, for thy sake, has given up everything, endure so much of suffering? So Sri Ramakrishna had fractured arm. Yam was absorbing the situation, one was enjoying the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's presence, or that Leela of Chaitanya Kirtana Leela, and seeing it Sri Ramakrishna. But he was observing every detail. Sri Ramakrishna's broken arm, injured arm, was put on the shoulder of Bhavanath. That also he didn't forget to write, note it down and write. So himself was, he must be inebriated in this, soaked with the atmosphere of godly atmosphere there, divine atmosphere that is praying. And why give so much suffering to your beloved, O Lord? She says to, maybe seeing Sri Ramakrishna injured heart, that she made line. The master bowed to the musician and sat down to listen to the music. Now and then he became abstracted. When the musician stopped singing, Sri Ramakrishna began to talk to the devotees. Now that's gone. Master to Vijay and others. What is prema? He who feels it, this intense and ecstatic love of God, not only forgets the world, but forgets even the body, which is so dear to all. Chaitanya experienced it. At other place he said, Chaitanya experienced it and Radha Rani experienced. This Mahabhava and Prema. Those are very high state of ecstasy of love of God. That's why it is bhava, it is bhakti. This becomes like that, bhakti, love of God. But when it is very intense, it becomes mahabhava. And when it matures, highest level is called prema. So ordinary human beings cannot experience mahabhava and prema. Only divine personalities like Radha and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had that experience. And Sri Ramakrishna has that. One person told that Bhairavi Brahmani, when Sri Ramakrishna blood was coming out from hair follicles and pores of the skin, which like we have the sweat coming out, Sri Ramakrishna blood was coming out. And she said, this is the state of Mahabhava and Prema. Only Radha and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had that. Now I see you have this state of Prema, Mahabhava, and Prema. This is Bhaidavi Brahmana saying. The master explained this to the devotees by singing a song describing the ecstatic state of Prema. Now he's describing. Oh, when will dawn the blessed day, when tears of joy will flow from my eyes as I repeat Lord Hari's name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's song is there. When repeat the God's name and starts crying. So there is a Nayanam Galadasrudharaya Vadanam Gadagada Rudgaya Gira Pulakair Nichitam Bapu Kada Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishyati. I will repeat your name and my tears will flow from my eyes and my hairs of the body will stand on end and my voice will be choked out of emotion cover, when will that day dawn? He says. Often that happens. In the again wants to experience that ecstasy of Mahabhava, the Chaitanya, and says, again, I want to have that experience when I'm totally immersed in your thought, and there is these are called vikara, changes in the body. Vikara means change, and they're called sattvika vikara of the body. When so much of devotion and love is experienced by the person's heart, then this manifestation of this changes in the body called sattvika vikara in a great devotee of God. So here standing on end, tears coming from the eyes, and you can speak the name. Sri Ramakrishna himself was saying, Krishna, Krishna. You were not able to say fully also Krishna. That was the ecstasy that when will this happen? It says, as I repeat Lord Hari's name. The master began to dance, and devotees joined him. He caught Yam by the arm and dragged him into the circle. Thus dancing, Sri Ramakrishna again went into samadhi. Standing transfixed, he looked like a picture on the canvas. Kedar repeated the following hymn to bring his mind down from the plane of samadhi. So Sri Ramakrishna became transfixed, his eyes all straight, nothing doing, nischal. He had become static, and that was the state. Mind has soared high. Now mind is not in dancing. Suddenly it happened, and Kedar repeated that. The worship of the Brahman consciousness in the lotus of the heart, the undifferentiated, who is adored by Hari, Hara, and Brahma, who is attained by yogis in the depths of their meditation, the scatterer of fear of birth and death, the essence of knowledge and truth, the primal seed of the world. So, to bring Sri Ramakrishna's mind to normal plane, he repeated this. All these devotees, you see, they were not just the devotees; they're highly erudite person in the shastras. This Surendra, as I said, was used to earn good amount of money according to um, standard of that time. Yet he used to devote so much time to study of scriptures. He could recite without saying, just to keep Sri Ramakrishna's mind down from samadhi. All these were like Narendra was so much, he had studied Shastras and Western philosophy and had knowledge of science. Every one of them was very erudite. M, no compare. M was the double MA, and not only MA, he had read all philosophy, Western philosophy. He was very profound, proficient in Western philosophy. So these people were so learned, and that's why they came to Sri Ramakrishna and enjoyed his company, his talks. They found what is described in the scriptures. He found Sri Ramakrishna just comes from Sri Ramakrishna's mouth, those things. It's little he had heard, he's describing from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's thing, and the songs he's adding and going to Samadhi. That was the bliss that Sri Ramakrishna always carried and created there. Sri Ramakrishna gradually came back to the plane of normal consciousness. He took his seat and chanted the names of God. Om Satchidananda, Govinda, 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 Yogamaya, Bhagavata, Bhakta, Bhagavan, all names of God. He chanted so beautifully. Sri Ramakrishna often chant the name of, uh, of God. And as you'll find that he was not one-sided. He's saying the name of Yoga Maya, of goddess of Shakti, and the same with Krishna and Shiva. All gods were all forms of and names of same one reality. That was Sri Ramakrishna's idea about the divine reality. One reality having many names. So all names denote, depict the same reality. And every name is so sweet. There is one beautiful poem. It says, अति सुंदर है दो नाम कृष्ण कहो चाहे राम. You say any name of God is so beautiful, so sweet. Either say Krishna or Ram, no difference between the devotee of Rama or Krishna. It's same sweetness. Krishna kaho ya Ram, ya kaho ya Kali or Sita, Kali or Shiva is the same God, same name, same sweetness is made. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote in Shikshastakam one beautiful line about the name of God. नामना मकारी बहुधा निज सर्व शक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमित स्मरणे न काल etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva vidrisa iha nani janinan raga. Why see my bad fortune? I have not developed love, anuraga, intense love in your name, and see your gratefulness, see your grace. By your grace, you have made so many names, O God. Namna Makari Bahuda. And not only you have created so many of your names, but in every name you have put your power, God Himself. Tatrar Pita Nija Sarva Shakti. All your power is you have put in the names. Name is God Himself. You have done so much grace. Durdaiva Vidrisa Miha Janinaru. And he says, Etadrishi Tava Kripa. So much of grace for us, O Lord. But what to say about my misfortune? What Durdaiva, what ill fated person I am, that I have not generated love for thy name. Jani na anuraga. Anuraga na jani. It has not developed it. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, for thinking of the we ordinary person. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had no problem. He had to repeat God's name and cry and dance like that. So, but that is, if we do not have love for God's name, then it is our misfortune that we have not developed God's love for God's name. So, how to develop love for God's name? The only solution they say, repeat God's name. While repeating, the love for name will come. Holy Mother used to say, sandal paste is there, make a paste with your hand. Then there will be chandan will be there. And you'll find your hands will have smell just because you were doing something. And flower is there, beautiful smell. Just put that flower in the hand. And you'll find the same flower, same smell comes in your hand. Like that, you repeat God's name, and the love for God's name will come to you. And what type of love will come? Then repeating names, then you will shed tears, hairs will end, and your throat will be choked. You will be full with the thought of God. Antar Bahi, Bahis, Antar Hari, Bahi Hari. Nantar Bahi, Nantar Hari, Nantar Hari. Tapasa tatak. If you don't have Hari inside you and outside you, what is the use of doing tapasya? And antar Hari, antar Bahi, Yadi Hari, tapasya tatak. When God is there inside you and outside you, then what is the need of tapasya? So, but to have this feeling, to bring God inside us and to see God all around, one has to do tapasya, which we call in modern language spiritual practice. Repeat God's name and try to follow the teachings of the scriptures. Transform yourself from the attraction and attachment to the world and seeing all defects and thing in the world. Try to find God present everywhere. And that will make you a spiritual being. Transform yourself from ordinary attached human being to a real devotee of God. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnan Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmu. Our next Friday class will be online only. Good night.